Hey everybody, this is Jimmy from The Unusual Minds, and on this episode of Behind the Bee Movie, we are taking a weekend trip down to Motel Hell. That's right, we are taking a look at one of the best satirical takes on the slasher genre, so sit back and remember, it takes all kinds of critters to make Farmer Vincent's fritters. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Motel Hell is a 1980 American comedy horror film directed by Kevin Connor and written by Robert and Stephen Jeffy. The screenplay for this film was written years before it went into production. The film had a difficult time finding backing, and because of its low budget, the original intent was to make it a serious horror film, with moments of disturbing wit and irony. The movie's original screenplay was a lot darker and a more disturbing piece, with bestiality, a lot more violence, and by far was not a dark comedy. In 1978, it was picked up by the Camp Hill Company and was shot and completed in 1980. In all, it was nearly 3 years from the time the script was written to the final release of the film. Universal Studios was originally approached with the film because of the multiple chainsaw scenes and story elements of cannibalism. Universal reached out to Tobe Hooper because the picture was likened and compared with his earlier film, A Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. Hooper was originally going to direct the movie for Universal Studios, but when the studio balked at the bizarre project, Hooper also departed. While applying for the job as director, Kevin Connor showed the Jaffe brothers his first film, the horror movie From Beyond the Grave. And after this, he got to see the script for Motel Hell. Motel Hell is often seen as a satire of modern horror films such as Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Connor's decision to shoot the humor of Motel Hell seriously is a large part of why it's held up so well. Because this could have easily been a goofy affair were it not for the deadpan delivery and ambiguous humor. Just as with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the humor runs as an undercurrent through the picture, always present but never directly pandering to audiences, until perhaps the very end. In many ways, Motel Hell is the perfect companion piece to Hooper's masterpiece, with an ending no less memorable. In 1978, it was picked up by the Camp Hill Company and was shot and completed in 1980, and then distributed by United Artists. The film follows an elderly motel owner, Farmer Vincent, who is famous for his smoked meat. He kidnaps people by setting traps on roads and sometimes by luring people to visit the motel with fake advertisements of orgies and swinger parties. He is aided by his sister while his naive cop brother is unaware. Things are going smoothly until a young girl falls in love with the motel owner, which causes a rift between the three siblings. Rory Calhoun plays Farmer Vincent. Publicity for the picture stated it was the first major role in a motion picture in quite a while for the lead actor. Calhoun was around 57 years old when he started the film. Calhoun had a long career in film and TV, appearing in The Texan, Tales from the Crypt, and even Hell Comes to Frogtown. The role of Sheriff Smith was specifically written for actor Paul Linke to play. Linke went to college with co-writer and co-producer Robert Jaffe. Linke lost 25 pounds to play the lead. He was carrying extra weight to play the character Grossman on the TV show Chips. He would go on to appear in many other TV and film projects, including K-Pax. The film also has a cameo from iconic DJ Wolfman Jack as Reverend Billy. A scene with Wolfman Jack officiating a wedding at a church was shot, but was cut from the final version of the film. The movie was primarily filmed at the Stable Ranch in Santa Clara, California, with the white brick stable as the backdrop to the motel and farm. The Stable Ranch has been used in hundreds of Hollywood and independent movies and TV shows since the early 20s. Interiors of the motel, farm, and smokehouse were filmed at the Laird International Studios in Culver City, California. The score was composed by Lance Rubin and was recorded at Warner Brothers Studios. In 2007 and 2008 interviews, director Kevin Connor once said in an interview on this film, "I thoroughly enjoyed it because it was tongue-in-cheek. You actually have to play these scenes, and if you notice, you never see any gratuitous violence. The black humor appealed to me, and it wasn't in response to any other movie trend. The most challenging thing was probably the Dueling Chainsaws, the idea for which came to me at the last moment. This may have been the greatest victory, too. Rory and Nancy were naturals. They loved each other, and they certainly didn't have to work at it." The Dueling Chainsaws was an idea that was conceived of during late in production and was not in the original movie script. The cinematic chainsaw duel took 5 12-hour days altogether to film. United Artists marketed Motel Hell as a straightforward horror movie rather than a horror comedy, fearing that any quirkiness in the trailers or posters would put off audiences. However, the tagliner, "You might just die laughing," still appeared on several Motel Hell posters. Farmer Vincent, adorned with a pig's head and touting a chainsaw, was the cover photo for the main story for Fangoria issue number 9. The poor sales of the issue, whether due to the photo or other reasons, led issue 9 to be one of the priciest and rarest Fangoria magazines of the 80s. Roger Ebert gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, writing, "What Motel Hell brings to this genre is the refreshing sound of laughter. This movie is disgusting, of course. It's impossible to satirize this material, I imagine, without presenting the subject matter you're satirizing." Adam Tyner from DVD Talk awarded the film 4 out of 5 stars, writing, "With its crackling dark sense of humor and some unforgettable twist visuals, Motel Hell still feels fresh and wildly unique after all these decades later." The Terror Trap gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, calling it a thoroughly enjoyable low-budget horror with effective, low-key doses of black humor. MGM released the film on DVD in 2002 as a double bill with the movie Deranged: Confessions of a Necrophile. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Deranged was inspired by real-life serial killer Ed Gein. On August 12, 2014, Scream Factory released a Blu-ray for distribution on the United States and Canada. Overall, Motel Hell is a welcome satirical look at the slasher genre. Its bizarre, over-the-top, and disturbing humor is fresh, funny, and breathes new life into a premise that was already stale by the early 80s. Even as a pure dark comedy, it has a certain wit that sets it apart from other more cynical pictures. So, if you haven't watched it yet, I recommend it because it holds up as being one of the most unique horror flicks of the decade. And this has been Jimmy with The Unusual Minds. Remember to always like, always subscribe, and share this video with anyone you know that might want to try Farmer Vincent's fritters.